What's up, guys? Welcome to another installment of the TAP podcast. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about One Championship's Reign of Valor. I love these names. I want to meet whoever's naming these for One Championship because they are awesome. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the main event from that particular night, which saw the welterweight championship get put on the line. Now, our reigning champion is Zebaztian Kadestam, the bandit from Sweden, and he is a striking phenom. But he was going up against a really tough opponent in Georgiy Kichigin from Kazakhstan. Now, Georgiy is... I honestly thought this was going to go back to Kazakhstan. I thought the belt was going to go back to Kazakhstan in this fight because Georgiy is a little unheard of. His nickname is the Knight, but he is an absolute madman. This guy is a combat sambo champion, and he is undefeated in the last 4 years, in his last 14 fights. So I immediately heard that and I was like, wow, these guys, like, I know the Sambo wrestling style, it's absolutely insane. I mean, you only have to look as far as the UFC lightweight champion in Nurmagomedov to see how this wrestling style plays out in MMA, and it plays out very well. It's different to the American style of wrestling. It's this crushing style of wrestling when they get their legs around your legs and they start to crawl up you into that mount position. It's like a python swallowing a deer. And when you defend that, they start raining bombs down on you. And then you start defending that and they just start eating you. They eat you like a freaking snake. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it translates very well into mixed martial arts. So Georgiy has that style of wrestling. And for that reason, I thought, well, if this hits the ground, it's going to be Georgiy's night. Anyway, a little bit of background on him. Came from a very poor sort of family in Kazakhstan, ended up joining the military, and he became the Sambo or military Sambo champion in the military, and he had 130 fights while he was in the military. 130. That's insane. And then he decided to go pro in MMA after that. So he has a really great pedigree and a really great background for MMA. However, our champion, Zebaztian, he is no slouch. He started in Muay Thai when he was about 12 years old, and he had a very, very successful Muay Thai career. So he's no slouch. He's been training at a pancrase gym in Sweden. He's got a decent wrestling background. He's got a decent ground game. But we've only really seen his stand-up game. He holds the most knockouts in welterweight history in one championship, one of which was over Luis Santos, which is no joke. So it was always going to be a barn burner, this one. But I figured Georgiy was going to take it. And it went 2 rounds, and the fight pretty much played out exactly how I thought it would until the last 10 seconds of that second round. Georgiy was putting it on the bandit. He was doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. He was going to close that distance, get it against the cage, get him on the ground, work for those takedowns. Now, that's not to say that Zebaztian wasn't doing his part. He was landing good strikes. He was landing that good, nice, long jab, and he was making Georgiy work incredibly hard for those takedowns and wouldn't quite let Georgiy get into those dominant positions, which was really interesting. I thought that he had some great counter wrestling. He was always managing to get his feet back underneath him, get his back up against the cage, and stand back up and get back to that clinch position against the cage. So he was making Kichigin work very, very hard. And by the end of the second round, you could start to see that exhaustion setting in. Now, don't get me wrong, Kichigin was winning this fight. He was absolutely winning this fight. He'd won the first 2 rounds, even though one championship doesn't score round by round. They score the fight on a whole. So he was dominating for 2 rounds. But maintaining that lead, you could start to see it gassing him. And Zebaztian was not helping that by being such a difficult opponent and getting back up all the time. So it was already weighing on him. You could see the fight was already starting to wear down on him. And then Zebaztian landed a good left elbow. They scuffled a little bit more against the cage. And then he framed off, pushed his head away, and landed a really solid elbow across the ear and across the temple. And that immediately, you could see it immediately discombobulated Kichigin. But he seemed to be okay. He kept that pressure on for the dying seconds of the round, kept Zebaztian's back against the cage. When they broke, Kichigin seemed to walk back to his corner just fine. He didn't seem too phased, but as soon as he got back to his corner, whether he missed the stool, whether he fell off the stool, or whether he just flopped down onto the ground, he was done. He was absolutely done. So I think the pressure of maintaining that lead for those 2 rounds and dominating that much for those 2 rounds, the exhaustion that set in from that, and then getting hit with that big elbow, I think that elbow was the straw that broke the camel's back. He flopped down to the corner and went, I'm done, no more. And belt went back to Sweden. Zebaztian victorious once again, TKO, so he has further advanced his record as the most knockouts in welterweight history in one championship. So awesome. That was it was a great fight, very technical. If you go back and watch the fight, you can go back and watch their replays, One Championship, through the app, on their YouTube. It's all free, all live and free. They're great events, but this particular one, watch how he keeps getting up. Watch how he was always defending. He was always 2-on-1 during the takedowns. He was always trying to break the grip. He was always getting his feet back under him. He was constantly working that counter wrestling and trying to get back to his feet, and was making it incredibly hard. So really good stuff there by the Bandit from Sweden. So that's all we have time for today, guys. If you haven't done so already, jump on iTunes or wherever you stream your podcast and leave a rating and a review. It's how we get popular. If you're watching on YouTube, you know where the buttons are: like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And if you absolutely have $1 just burning a hole in your pocket, you have no idea what to do with that, jump on patreon.com/thetap and you can support us for as little as $1. Throw that our way. I swear to God, we're not just going to go and spend it on, beer, oil, and all that sort of stuff. We're going to actually use it for the podcast. I swear. I promise. So anyway, guys, train hard. Keep up that fighting spirit.